The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up. Jesus is calling you." He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way, your faith has saved you." Immediately he received his sight and followed him on the way. The Gospel of the Lord.
No one takes this honor upon himself, but only when called by God. When I was 14 years old, back in 1972, when I was 12, my dad had knee surgery, and it went very, very wrong. He developed a blood clot in his leg that traveled to his lung, and he got what's called a pulmonary embolism, and he almost died. And for 2 years, he was semi-retired. He worked for the hospital reading electrocardiograms. But then he decided to go back into active practice. And in 1974, he opened, I think, January 5th. And he woke me up very early in the morning. He said, "Listen, you're not going to go to school today because I want you to put your work clothes on because there's a foot of snow, and I can't snowplow the driveway with my knee. You're going to have to do it." So it was about 5 degrees too. It was very cold. So I got dressed, and I had to, I couldn't walk in the snow. I had to crawl to the garage, open the door, and start it with the electric start. And I made the first pass on the driveway, and it was fine. I made the second pass, and it jammed. And what happens is my mother brought a whole bunch of wooden spoons, because although the outside of the snowblower isn't running, the impeller, the part that throws the snow, always moves. So I had a pair of what they call BDUs, battle dress with big pockets on the sides. I pulled the spoon out, and I said, "You know what? I'm just going to shut the motor off altogether." So I shut the motor off, dug the snow out, and then I realized I had to restart it. And I'm 14 years old, not really that strong yet, and this is a 10 horsepower motor. This thing's a beast. So I pulled it the first time, chugga, 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 chugga. Oh, come on, I'm freezing out here, give me a break. And I found myself adapting to try to get more torque, to get more chugs, to hopefully to get it to start. And the Olympic gold medal way to start a snowblower for a handicapped American is to start in a crouch, stand up, and with one hand on the handle, and your hand on and grab the rope as you pull, and start in a crouch and just pull as hard as you can, standing up, all the way out here, and finally fired. And I was able to finish it after that. But before I did all this, and intermittently, as I'm struggling to figure this out, I'm saying, like my father used to say, please God, I got to get this done. My father has office hours today for the first time. I have to get this done. And sure enough, he answered. I was begging, literally, because it was a very dire situation. And God responded. And in our lives, there are a great many more important issues in which we call upon God. The successful birth of a child, the death of a loved one, that we know we can lean on him. We know we can depend on him. And that's why the readings are so important today, because people who loved God and served him depended on him to help to finish their duties. In the first reading, shout for joy for Jacob, exult at the head of the nations, because he did what God called him to do. And in the gospel, we see the great faith of Bartimaeus. Jesus, son of David, have pity on me. And Jesus heard him. And without hesitation, he gets up, throws his cloak off, and goes right to Jesus. And, Master, I want to see. And Jesus says, go your way. Your faith has saved you. Jesus went from curing a blind man to saving the butt of a skinny little 14-year-old on a frigid day so my father could open his office and do what he always loved. And in those two moments in life, God was there. So no matter how big, save your vision or simply try to get going during your day, or small, God will always be there. Don't ever forget that.